Just dying. Just dying so hard. Let's see how we're doing. Looking good. Oh, looking Gucci. All right, let's get a little promo. See what we got crack-a-lackin'. Dude, I'm playing some jams right now, man. Welcome. We'll be starting in a sec. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, man, we are going to be taking a look at a lot. Got a lot to take a look at. Going to be exciting stuff. Yeah, we're just going to go through a little promo round real quick, as per usual. And it should be fun. We're going to go through the update. And then we are also going to be doing kind of a quick S2 and S2 Plus updates as well. So really looking forward to that. Oh, well, interesting. I thought I updated this one. I guess I didn't. I guess that happens. Oh, where am I? There we go. Nice. Welcome. Yeah, we're just going through a quick promo round, and then we will get started. I was hoping to try and get on a little bit earlier, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers, as they say. I thought I had some... I wonder if I had the CoD music on for the sound. Maybe not. All right. Let's go through. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's nice to be able to kind of talk a little bit more about the update, go look around a little bit. I think we still got some kingdoms we got to follow up with to get some status updates as well on just upcoming wars, essentially. So I had a chance to go through quite a few today recently. So we'll probably we'll do a little bit more. Definitely will eventually try to get the thing down for being able to maybe get some music. Eventually. Let's see. All right, I think we're almost done. We should be good to go. Welcome. My daughter's going buck wild out there. All right, cool. I think we're good there. Let's come on up here for us. Still got to finish leveling this account too, just so I can get to level 7. Excuse me, so I can get the Augur Stone, which would be lovely. All right. Awesome. I think we're good. So we're posted up in a couple places. So pretty excited. I wonder how we'll do for a Friday night. We will definitely see. Awesome. All right. I think we're good to go. We got all of our promos out. Pretty excited there. Let's see what kind of magic we can make happen now. So I got to finish up real quick. Yeah, for those that are wondering, we got some sangria. It's so good. For anyone here who drinks sangria, if you're familiar or not. So let's finish that. So this is S217. And I think I'm just trying to finish this up so I can check out Augerstone to confirm, because these groups are going to be going into their season summary. There's actually quite a few. I'm trying to calculate and figure out all of the ones that are, because it's a little bit of a bigger group than even I initially thought. So we're going to do that. I just have the wall left to do. Oh no, I have a herbalist hut. Okay. So we'll do that. Let's see here. 30. We'll fast forward. Let's do wall. Okay, honestly, totally dying. And I might have to get a tissue going. Oh gosh. Okay. I think we're good to go. Dying should hopefully be over with. And tears have been shed. All right, let's finish this off. Sweet. So we should be able to see now. And then I'll show the sheet off here in a sec too as well for what we've been working on. Just so we can kind of connect some dots for you guys. So this is the 10th as well. Okay, cool. So that tells us what we want to know on there. And this is, excuse me, S217. Okay, so as of now, we know that, and here, I'll see if I can show this off. Let me skadoosh this on over. And can I switch? Let's switch screens here so I can show you guys. Right. So this is what we're working on as well, right? For like what we're building out. So we know that these three groups here, S213 through S218, which is, I'll have to double check on the kingdoms. I don't think I wrote them down here. But all 6 of these divisions or KvK groups that are currently in Vanilla Season 2 are going to be going into the same season summary where they will transition into S2+. So that's what we were confirming right now. I would need to go take a look at S219 just to make sure that nothing's changed there. But it's cool to know that there's that many groups that are going into the next stage. Because originally I thought it was just going to be 3 or so, and then they ended up, I guess, adding a few more. So let's see here. Pinchahati, what's up? Welcome. Why don't you stream your own fighting? So I've mentioned this before on the streaming my own fighting, is that my account isn't strong enough to be able to actually be what I would consider to truly contribute when it comes to fighting other particular units. And that's because of the way that I'm building the account. I'm essentially just min-maxing at this point, like really hard, to where I'm just trying to finish all my buildings up. I only have a few more, I think, until I hit 25, and then I'll just be able to basically focus all those resources on tech. And then at that point, I can kind of just mass build troops. As far as supporting fighting out on the field, that's entirely different. Being able to go out there and help build the on-field structures, being able to help build flags, destroy flags, just kind of be more of a supportive force. In that sense, it's totally doable. I mean, to be fair, even T1 can do that. But as far as fighting, I don't have nearly as much T4 trained, and obviously haven't hit T5 yet. So, yeah, it's not. It's really more of just kind of an inability to fight, just because the account itself is just not at a stage where the fighting would be helpful, so to speak, as far as if we're talking about specifically on the front lines. All right, let's look at 19. But again, one day, when the account gets there, bear in mind, I'm not investing a lot of money into my account, like if you're comparing to like Sneaky or Meower or Shinchi, even Omni, right, Once Upon a Time, even Chiz obviously too as well, and others, right? A lot of my income that I get is basically being saved. Like I'm factoring that into my budget, where I would need to make this amount to where I could consider going full time, right? That's basically the hope, and I guess you could argue the goal. So, the money that I get incoming is all going towards trying to reach that. And once I can reach that consistently, then anything I make beyond that is what I would basically budget for account investment, right? Because if I'm just reinvesting all the money that I'm making into the account, I just don't know if it would really work with first and foremost, like the primary style of content that I like to do. And on top of that, I'd like to be a little bit more financially sustainable, right? There is the argument that can be made where if you're investing everything that you're making into your account, or all the money you're making from content production into your account, then you'll have a stronger account, and you'll be able to go out there and fight on the field, and that could in turn potentially increase viewership, right, in some of those areas. However, the premise of or you could say the objective, right, or the focus of my content isn't really based on that, right? It doesn't mean that I don't want to do that, or I will eventually, I won't do that, as I do intend. I'd love to go and fight on the field. But that's not really what I need to do at the moment, right? For the audience that I have and the content that I put out, it's not really a requirement. So, if anything, I hope that answers the question, though. Okay, so let's see here. Let's take a look at 19 and where they're at on their timeline. So 17 days that they have, yeah, so they're not that close. Let's go take a look real quick at 260, because I think there might have actually been some fighting that was going on. We might be able to go and watch. Where are we going? Let's see here. Season 1. Ooh, hang on. Before we do that, I need to see how many Augerstone chapters S221 has left. So I think that's 131 we need to go to. So it's S21 and S22. Yeah, right here. So let's do 137 first, then we'll do 131. Because I need to make sure, because their final zone for Zone 4 is going to be opening. So I'm really excited for that. So I have to put this down where Frost Dragon is, right? And there's a chance that it might, I don't know if it's open yet, but we know that there's going to be some wars going on there. So I can't wait for that. So I'm going to put this here. Let's see where they're at. Yeah, so we're still a ways away, right? They were 7 when I last checked. I need to update this. I could probably just put it for the same. So they got 2 days on salvation. So if you count salvation, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we're 5 away now. So I'm gonna update this to put 5, and then again, which to be fair is probably at least a week and a half from now. So we'll probably check this again next Friday and see how things are going. Okay, now we can go check S1, which let's go to 267. That's what we're going to check because because they were close to being ready to fight, and that was around this morning. So they could already be going at it. And they had some really good activity in 267. We'll see. We shall see. Shall see. All right, let's see what we got going on. So I think I don't know if they've met yet. Oh yeah, see, here we go. So they are getting pushed. So here in 267, I'll tell you guys who this is. This is So 267, we have RD98, AA, and RD69. They're on the west side. And then on the east side, we have TWK, TWL, MIT, FIT, and HIT. Right, so that's kind of where we're at now with those groups. So, which is interesting because if you look at, again, they have some decent power, right? This isn't bad. And then you can see here on the matchup, right? Remember, it's RD98, AA, RD69, right? So TWL, MIT, I believe TWG, and like so it's the top 3 versus 4, 5, and then wherever RD98 is, right? And then number 9, right? So that, I mean, you could argue it's pretty underpowered. Or I'm sorry, like the west side, RD69 in their group is pretty underpowered, right? And this is TWK, so I don't know. Is it just a lull right now? Because you can see here, right? It's AA. Yellow is hang on, we gotta click on actual territory here. RD98 and 69's up here, right? Then you got TWK. There is TWL, MIT, FIT, HIT, and then TWGG, right? So I don't know what's going on. I don't think TWGG is attacking them on that side. I think the battle's going to be here, and then it looks like they're also okay. Yeah, so it looks like we're still a little bit of ways from maybe them kind of going all out, so to speak, but. Again, right, you can see some of the numbers. Oh, there's a little something going on here. A little something. Right, not a lot, but a little something. Looks like just a little bit of a light skirmish here. Let's see. Oh. I still have to ask that to get an answer there. Ooh. I wonder if this is one of the top players. So it's via the Joker, who's on their side, and then AA. So like 1 and 5, and then 7. So I mean, you got some people, right? Some top players that are on that, but it looks like for the most part, really they're on the east side group because they just have more alliances together. S2 plus the cocaine bear. Yeah, it's wild. Alright, looks like them making a little bit of work there. I wonder if they're going to push this now. Over here. I mean, they're not doing any building. Well, they might push this. They might push the 2 builders that are up there. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's too much fighting. Let's go take a look at maybe 266 real quick. Let's see. Because 268 passes haven't opened yet. So we can go take a look real quick at 266, and then we can go through some patch notes. Alright, if anybody has any questions on those. Kids going wild.
Yesterday was Friday, you were like, what today is it? It was Friday. And tomorrow is Saturday. And then tomorrow's going to be Sunday for me, for church. School, no school. Which one doesn't have no school too?
Alright, let's see.
Sunday and Saturday. Girl.
Everyone's farming.
Serious.
Okay, yeah, so it doesn't really look like anything's developed, because when we checked this last time, we checked this early this morning, and only 2 level 3 passes were capped. So the 2 on the left hadn't been capped. Looks like they're still not capped. And then I believe the other ones we saw, which was this one up here on the northeast, and then the 3rd one from top down. Right, so this looks like to be the new one that was capped from what it looks like. No one's building, though. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't look like there's anything going on. Are we building here? Okay, so in a little bit. But I don't think there was, like, too much activity on this one. Yeah, I mean, look, you can see this kingdom right now. I mean, basically 1 active alliance, and they're not even full, right? I mean, isn't that pretty wild to see that? Where, you know, you're coming in, and again, this is supposed to be a newer kingdom, and I mean, bear in mind, I don't know how bad, like, were people just like going, oh, see, they were, so you can see, right, they got 27,000 VNR kill. I mean, this could be indicative. Maybe the top 3 alliances were fighting, right, or maybe it was V and WR going against kill and the others, but I mean, when you look at the power for this kingdom, I mean, I don't want to say it's bad, but it is incredibly low when you think about general activity. And bear in mind, their Zone 3 just opened, right? And they basically have 1 healthy active alliance, right? Like, the power for these alliances shouldn't be this low, right? I mean, you could maybe argue 500-600 mil, somewhere around there by the time Zone 3 opens, right? I'd say maybe 500, give or take. But and that's just kind of if your average activity, right? So this to me is incredibly low, and it makes me wonder a few questions. One, you know, how populated was the kingdom going in, or did the number 1 alliance just attack everyone, right, and kind of kill people off so they could, you know, kind of run things, which sometimes happens in kingdoms. It's unfortunate, but it sometimes happens. All right, let's look at 265 real quick, and then we'll go over some patch notes and just take a look. Because, again, there are, I think, some standout features that I'm really excited about that I'd love to talk about real quick. And then we can do a quick S2 and S2 Plus KvK group review. And that won't take too long. That'll go pretty quick. I'll basically just be kind of showing you the leaderboards. We'll show you what the upcoming matchups are. Because, like I said, I went through all the kingdoms, all the groups earlier today, so I could figure out what all of the potential Zone 2 matchups or the next zone matchups are going to be. So that way, it'll be pretty seamless, right, when we go through that. And this kind of looks a little bit of the same, right? Doesn't look like there's really any fighting or any PvP that's going on here. Looks like they're building maybe downward. Hey, sweetie. And are they trying to reconnect? No idea. Okay, but no PvP here. Okay. So let's do this. Let's go back to S1 because we're gonna. I think we'll start there, anyways. When we go.
Did I want to see this?
What is it, sweetie? Oh gosh.
Look, look.
Yeah.
Wait. Look.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow. It's like there's sand in him.
No, it has mushrooms.
Wow, that's really smushed. Oh my gosh.
And the office. No, okay.
Oh. I knew I should have restocked on some diapers just in case, you know? It's the small things that you always wonder about. Okay, so word here. Let's take a look at some patch notes real quick. Let's see. Oh, there we go, man. We got some fam joining us now. What's up? What's up? Everyone, is it everyone? What's up? Welcome. Ayo Hefe. What do you consider to be the order of investment of a brand new Kraken in COD? So I mean, you know, I think generally speaking, and again, I can speak a little bit on it. I obviously don't spend that much, so speaking to someone who does spend a lot more than me, I will say first and foremost, it's probably going to be a better thing to do. However, I think some of the things, like for example, if we're just talking going through here, right? I mean, obviously, I think doing the first kind of gem market purchases because we get double on that. Obviously, doing growth fund, buying your monthly packs, getting the daily deal every day, getting your worker as well, and then obviously if you're going through like bundles, I mean, to be fair, I think the most important thing early on, if you're just trying to kind of max level, I mean, you can make an argument really for getting any of these. I mean, you're probably not going to do a wealth of training early on, right? Because, I mean, again, it just depends on how much you're spending and what your financial capacity is, right? If you have the capacity to basically max buy everything, I don't necessarily think max buying everything is probably the most efficient thing. It's something that some Krakens will do. But typically, right, you're wanting to focus on building speed up, research speed up, right? You probably would want to go for tokens, right? So that like the universals here, well, I should say universals for G2. Artifact keys would obviously be another big thing. And then obviously if you need additional resources at that point, I don't know if you would really go super hard in training speed ups early on, because maybe the most important thing is just trying to essentially get to max level, and then also max VIP. And then, any of the pop-ups that are for the legendaries. So, for example, if you unlock a legendary, buying that pop-up bundle is really good. I actually have some on my spreadsheet. Someone else, I think, has done almost all of them. But again, right, I think those are some of the ones where you would. Let me see. Sorry, every Beans. What's up, man? Nice recruiting. Bit power hitter being. Oh man, I know I'm so big right now, man. Like. I can't wait to take this 10,868 S1 Scout account out there in the field, man. I'm going to wreck. Sorry. Every run. Let's say around 30K in the first month ballpark, but could go up to 40K. Yeah. I mean, so I think everything that I said as far as purchase-wise that you would look at. However, Evie, if you want what I could do and what I would say to myself, right? Like I said, because I don't purchase all the time at the high level, sure, I have an idea on what you would spend to max the account out as efficiently, at some semi-efficiently as possible when it comes, because you have to think about like when you're building a new account, essentially you need to max out buildings, you need to max out research, you're eventually going to max out VIP, you need to invest in artifacts, you need to invest in trying to get hero tokens to max skill them out, right? So that way you can try and be as set up as possible from in season 1, right? And then going into future seasons. And then obviously things like war pets too as well is one of the newest things now. So, right, that's, it's kind of the basics of it. I mean, you're basically just trying to get to a max level account, right, as fast as possible. So the things that you're purchasing should be related to that. With the exception of when you're getting pop-up bundles or if you're leveling a new account, there's certain levels that you're going to hit, whether it's an upgrade you're doing to a specific building or if it's a new level for a city hall or your castle level, right? You'll get pop-up bundles throughout. Essentially, again, from what I understand and from what I looked at when I was doing the research early on, right, buying the legendary pop-up bundles anytime those come up, I think even to an extent, it may even be worth it for some of the epics. I think you would just have to look at what's included. But I know all the legendaries, There's certain tier pop-ups that you'll get at certain levels, and once you hit certain milestones that you'll want to buy. But honestly, what I would probably do is I'd love to connect you with someone who I know does spend quite a bit, right? That would be one of the better things. So if you want, just hit me up on Discord, right? Message me on Discord, and what I can do is I can connect you with some top players, right? Because I have a private group on my Discord server that is for top players in the game. So essentially every time I do a top 25 list for the top 25 strongest players in the game every month, which I think with the exception of the last month or two. But what I'll do is I'll reach out to those players and I'll invite them. I'll ask them if they want to come into the group. So basically it's kind of, you could argue it's like a cracking group, if you will, right? So people can kind of just coordinate with each other if they want to talk with each other and kind of be in the realm of other high spenders. Then that's something they can do. But again, I pretty much know almost all of the top players that spend a lot, whether I have them as friends on Discord or, I can easily connect you with someone. So if you like, just DM me on Discord, and then just let me know, hey, this is every run from the live stream. And again, I can at least direct you to some people that have a lot more knowledge than I do when it comes to spending capacities, right, for certain budget levels. Because trust me, there are some people that have already spent that. So, but yeah, obviously we just, again, any way I can facilitate and logistically help, right, get you to where you need to be to get the information you need, I'm happy to. Okie dokie. So we are, we're going to take a look at patch notes, right? So I honestly wish I could full screen this, but they haven't put it up yet, I think, on the Discord, right, where we can do the link. They might have it on Facebook. I just haven't checked their page. Yeah, no, they haven't even put it out yet. Let me refresh real quick. I don't know if they've updated this. No, they haven't. They haven't even added the patch notes on the Facebook group yet. Wow. Okay, so we'll go off this. Sorry, Jet said, building research heroes max purchase. Building research heroes max purchase for first 9 days. All pop up by. Okay, so see, there you go. All pop up, right? I was just going to say all legendary and then potentially epics, and then obviously some of the maybe some of the epics depending on the values, and then some of the pop ups you get for hitting other milestones. But I mean that could be it as well. I recommend that only one barricade per player. They should not remove it. Gothmog, what's up? Jets, what's up? I recommend that only one barricade per player. They should not remove it because more options a player can do is a good feature. No, I'm 100% there with the barricade. I mean, I said that in the video I did this morning where it just didn't make any sense, right, that they were kind of doubling down on removing the barricade. It was interesting because there's something in here that I'm sure we'll get to where it says that that they made an adjustment on the barricade, but that they also reiterated that they're removing it. And obviously for Season 2+, let me be specific, right, removing it for Season 2+. But yeah, it's just, again, I like the barricade, and I think that's a good point, right? Sometimes the more options you have, as long as it's maybe not a million options, so to speak, right? And maybe that's just depending on the game and the space. I do think it provides a more diverse level of tactics and strategy that can be applied. Sometimes it's just a matter of fine-tuning, right, what currently exists to try and get it in line with what a realistic expectation is on the field. Gothmogs also says build and destroy time should only be 10 to 20 minutes, regardless of levels. Attacking players should not wait or get stuck 30 to 60 minutes just to destroy a freaking unlimited barrier from one player. Yeah, and again, that's whether it's that time or something around that, I don't think that's unreasonable. The thing for me is that right, it takes less time to destroy than it does to build, and I just think that personally is just unfortunate. I think the time should be exactly the same. However long it takes to build is exactly how long it should take to destroy. So, and I think personally having shorter times on those types of structures can be a little bit more favorable. And that's because you can build more of them, right? In total, than let's say flags per se. Like I can understand a flag taking longer to build and a little bit longer to destroy. Same thing with a fort, right? Forts scale appropriately and they take longer to build and longer to destroy. So because you have so many kind of small barricades or turrets as an example, right, I just think those things should obviously take a little bit less time. But if we go through this, right, so I think the first thing, and we'll just maybe go over some of the highlighting points, but the first thing for me that really stands out is the war pet, right? I think that's the one thing that probably catches a lot of people initially is that they're changing the way that the war pet skills, that the way war pets learn skills, right? You can now choose which war pet skills will be replaced. And I think part of the confusion here for me is that it was saying replaced, right? When I would have loved for it to say, you can now choose which war pet skills go into which slots or which skill slots, right? And then if they added another line that says, if you can also replace any existing skills of your choosing. Like, I just wish it said that, right? I just wish it was very simple, very straightforward, and was just easier to understand, in my opinion. Now, some people will read this and they'll probably say, okay, well, I probably get it, more or less. And I want to say I hope it works out that way. I really do. Because if it does work out that way, then I think that this is probably one of the best changes, improvements, fixes, if you will, that they could have made. And I think this is going to be a lot better than what was originally intended. Right? The other side of it is that now it's going to depend on how are they going to scale it, right? So that's important too as well, right? Are they going to scale skills and kind of keep the same things in line? Because again, I'm fine with the grind aspect of grinding the war pets. It's kind of it's just like it's like a Pokemon grind. Totally fine with that. But again, hopefully that's how this plays out, where you'll actually be able to play skills where you want, and there won't be any issues. But we'll have to wait until it goes into effect. Excuse me. Jets. Says S2 Plus patched normal bear. Too easy. First attempt, all T-Force GG. Elite feels good. Close with 65s. Okay. And to be fair, I mean, let's be real. An elite bear should not be as strong as an elite giant. And an elite giant should not be as strong as an elite necro. Or elite thunder rock. And an elite thunder rock shouldn't be as strong as an elite necro. And an elite necro shouldn't be as strong as, a hydra, right? And then an elite hydra shouldn't be as strong as an elite necro. And then necro, same thing to magma demon, and magma demon to frost dragon, right? The elites should be harder as you scale up. And, it's either harder or even just could have, it could be harder and or changing attack patterns. I mean, again, there are creative ways that you can apply that, but, it should scale appropriately. Where, the hardest challenge really should be, right, the elite frost dragon, as an example. I think the next one here, right, on the artifact improvements for Swordsman's Blade, right, targets now take 15% less damage per additional target. Right, previously it was 25% less damage. Right, and someone was trying to tell me something about this, but this reads as a nerf to me, where the target that you're attacking is now taking 15% less damage per, but before they were taking 25%. Targets now take 25% less damage. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean that's how it reads to me. Pix, what's up? Says, welcome. In my opinion, earlier Behemoth being easier is a good thing since there are more weaker alliances in Zone 1, Zone 2. Yeah, I mean, I think that's appropriate. I think if you're thinking about how you scale the Behemoths, right, it's not as though they should be dirt poor weak, so to speak, but the strength of the Behemoths overall should be adjusting from Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, but also more specifically with the levels that they're assigned, right? And a bear is assigned a 1. A giant is a 2. A thunder rock is a 3. A hydra's a 4. Necro's a 5. Magma's a 6. And dragon's a 7. I mean, it just makes sense. Let's see. If we go to hero skills with Guanwins, right, where now it's a little bit of a buff here, right? Or a little bit of a nerf, right? Because before it was when the unit counts over 60%, she's dealing 30% more damage. Or excuse me, this is actually a buff. I'm sorry, it's not a nerf, because she's already dealing an additional 3% damage here, right, from the get-go. So the lower that you set the percentage units count means the longer that 3% additional damage will be in effect, right? So this is actually a buff. So yeah, but I mean, I guess I'm okay with that. I just would have liked an explanation. I would have liked to know why. Right, that's the biggest thing. So, Violator, what's up, man? Welcome. Guanwin got a buff, not a nerf. Yes, words are slow to come out of my mouth. Gothmog, what's up? Welcome. Yeah, tiny buff. But I just would have liked to know, for me, and this is what we often talk about, right? Why? Right? Why are they getting the buff? What data are you seeing? What indication is being made? What type of feedback are you getting? And I'm not saying that maybe Guanwin did need a buff in this area, but providing an explanation and a reasoning or a justification is vitally important. So we look at the next one here, which is improved skill descriptions, right? Description of the concept of diffuse damage, where each additional target reduces damage taken by targets. And this was the one here for skills that deal diffuse damage include Veln's skill, Frozen Star, right? So if we go over to Veln, I think I should be able to look at a Veln. So here's Frozen Star, right? Deals hero skill damage to the target and 2 surrounding legions. Magic damage factor of 60 and inflicts freeze, reducing their march speed by 10% for 3 seconds. Each additional target reduces the damage dealt to each target, right? So each additional target that they hit will reduce their damage that they're dealing, right? So you're basically kind of nerfing their damage for a period of time. Oh, sorry. No, excuse me. It's each additional target reduces the damage dealt to each target. Sorry, the damage that the skill is doing to the additional targets. I have to be able to read these things correctly. Yeah. But I guess they're just fixing the description here, right? Really is the main takeaway, where it says each additional target reduces damage taken by targets. Part of me feels like this still could be a little bit better, but yeah. It is what it is. It is what it is. Sorry, Bean says, maybe due to more people using Waldir over Guanwin in early game. I mean, possibly. It's just, again, we don't know, right? So all we can kind of do is assume, unfortunately. It would be nice to know why the change is coming in. Very similar to what I showed off when we were looking at the League of Legends patch notes as an example, right? Where they give you a couple sentences of what the explanation is on justifying why they're making the change because of what they're seeing. And then they'll show you what the before and after is for the change. Gothmog, so it will be on par with the talent in Precision Tree, Cool Under Pressure. I don't know if I have a Precision Tree. Oh, never mind, here we go. Whoa. Let's just do reset. So you said Cool Under Pressure. Where is Cool Under Pressure? There we go. Your Legion deals 2% more normal attack damage when they're... Yeah. So basically the same. It's the same thing, more or less. It's just flat damage, right? This is normal attack damage. I think the 3% damage is applied to everything. The normal attack is just for the basic or for the auto. But then obviously I believe it scales too as well for skills on having the higher normal attack from, I believe, what they've said. So let's continue. Where were we? So I think we're at 3 now. So defensive strike, right? This is the thing that kind of got me, where it says reduced barricades durability and obstruction effects, which I do think is a good change. I don't know if the obstruction effects is really what's needed as much as the durability and the amount of total barricades that can be built. And then it says, no, in order to improve your gaming experience, we've removed barricade feature from S2+. And this was the thing I just didn't think was the right call, right? I think what we said before really is what I would have loved to see happen first. Right, and that's the thing, right? You adjust, you tune it, and then if it eventually feels like, okay, hey, maybe we need to remove it, okay, then you can make that call. But my thing is just don't pivot, don't do hard pivots, right? Don't go from 0 to 100 to 0 right away. Peacekeeping changes, right? They increase the difficulty of certain low-level darklings, dark creatures, and beasts. And is this applied across all seasons? Why is this change being made? Once again, that would be nice to know. Right, multi-legion combat approach, and this is one I actually really liked. Added a feature that automatically arranges melee legions to the front and ranged legions to the rear when issuing marching orders, because this is something that I think just helps. Right? It's funny. I think when I was playing Halo Wars, and then eventually Halo Wars 2 on console, they did something like this. Like if you selected all your units and you were moving in a direction, right, it would put certain units in certain positions. So, I mean, to me, I actually think this is just a nice little quality of life. It's not forcing them to stay in those positions forever, but I do like how it's kind of auto-adjusting it as you're going to battle. Yeah. Right? Let's see what we got. So I got said, a survey is a must of mass audience before removing a feature that is bad for a few. Good for everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they could easily send a system mail out to everyone or create some type of like feedback voting section that says something to the effect of, right, we've been getting feedback about barricades, right? Right, what are some ways you think that we can improve barricades, right? And they could just do like 2 or 3 questions. One where they collect feedback ahead of time, and then they make it a multiple choice, right? So you have like a multiple choice question there. And then you have another question that is, okay, well, if you didn't see your selection or preference on the multiple choice, right? How would you like to see the barricades fixed or adjusted, right? And then 3 or something like that, you could say, hey, would you like to see more of these, right? Where we get more feedback, we kind of pull more numbers, would you like to see us do this more? It could be super simple like that, and they can do that for a multitude of things. I think that would be a great way to get accurate feedback, right? Right, because the thing is, you don't want to just flat out ask, and say, hey, we've been getting a lot of feedback, we're thinking about removing barricades, what do you think, right? You don't want to ask that. You always want to try and attune first and align what the feature is, so that way it doesn't come off, right, as super OP or not. Okay, let us move on to the next one. So for number 6 here, this to me is, I can't tell you how excited I am for this one. New Roots of War observation feature. In order to improve your experience, Roots of War now includes a brand new observation feature. I mean, right, so basically, as long as you're an Alliance member, you can tune into the battle, right, that's going on. This to me is absolutely fantastic. I'm excited because now I'm going to be able to start covering Roots of War as additional content on my channel. That's something I've been wanting to do for a very long time, but I just haven't been able to because, again, my account isn't at a pace right now for the alliances that I'm usually in, where I would be considered, right, one of like a main player, if you will. So, yeah, the baby made it in. Look at that. So, hey, sweetie, how's he going? But yeah, so, for me, I think finally being able to actually cover ROW, man, I am hyped. So, you guys are going to get, I will tell you right now, the absolute best of me when it comes to, like, competitive game commentary, right? Now, obviously, I'm going to have to watch a little bit of ROW. I'll have to learn a little bit myself as well. But it is something that I am really excited about. And that's mainly just because... I've been wanting to watch ROW for a very long time. So, for me, this is a nice step, I think, in the right direction. And I think the overall, if we're just talking about the overall set of updates and features that are coming, I do think the game is going in a better direction. But there are quite a few amount of things that still need to be addressed. And we'll talk about that towards the end. But I think the ROW change is fantastic. I can't tell you how excited I am. Yeah. Evelyn, open the door, please. Leave it open all the way in case he still wants to go out. Thank you. So yeah. JDA Epicurean, what's up, man? Welcome. Do you know which unit the greatest heights city skin will be for? I'm really hoping it's for marksman, but I hear it will likely be for infantry. I'm not sure myself. I'm probably in the same boat with you guys with honestly just needing to wait to hear and just kind of see. You want this? She's okay. You want that? But yeah, so I'm mostly just have to wait and have to see how that's going to play out. But I'm not sure myself. Gotham, does it say only Alliance members can spectate? Yeah. So it says, right, if your Alliance has registered for Roots of War, all non-combatant Alliance members, so you have to specifically be in the Alliance, will be able to enter the battlefield to observe gameplay, as will Alliance members who have quit the battle. So essentially, you just need to be in the Alliance. Now, how I would like for them to build off this is where maybe they create an interface specifically for Roots of War, very similar to kind of like what Osiris League has to an extent, but basically where it's a Roots of War interface, and it'll show you, and they can even use the current Roots of War interface, but it'll show you, like here, I'll give you an example. I don't think I can go into ROW. Oops, hang on, I went to the wrong thing. Campaign. I don't think I can go in here. Yeah, I can't go in yet. But basically, imagine I clicked on Roots of War and this is the screen. You could have your match information somewhere, and then maybe up here would be highlighted matches, right? That you can go and watch in real time, but on a delay, right? That would be cool. I think that would be a great way to do it, because if you can watch matches on a delay, then you can unfog and you can watch, the matches from both sides, right? So it's not just one side or the not. If you're watching it in real time, right, then it wouldn't really make a lot of sense, because you'd have to only watch it from one side. It would be easy for someone to go in here, stream it, and then you could basically snipe, right, if you will. I just don't think that would keep the competitive integrity alive. So, but something like that, where you could watch other matches, you could bet on matches, that would be dope. Maybe a global leaderboard and ranking system for ROW. I mean, again, if you want ROW to grow, which I think it has the potential to do so, you have to treat ROW almost as though it's like an esport. You have to think about it like you're trying to take this mode and create like a professional team around it, right? Or a professional league around it. That's kind of how you have to look at it. And so to me, these are just kind of basic no-brainers on things that you want to add. But yeah, Gothmog, there you go, betting mana. I mean, dude, bet gems, right? Why not be able to bet gems? Bet any resource that you want, right? And if it comes out, right, then whatever the ratios are, right, then that's what you get for betting. It's like Rock has a pretty simple system where you can vote on who you think is going to win the matchup, and then based on what the ratio is for who's going to win, will proportion out whatever you're going to bet on what your return will be, right? So if you're betting on a team that has, they're like 5-1 underdogs, well then you're going to get 5, you get 5 times your payout, right? And so I think something like that would be really cool, right? If they allowed for you to bet any resource that you wanted on matches, and then you could see like a history of how that ROW team has performed, right? So before you bet, you could click on the ROW's team history, and you could look at all their previous matches, what the win-loss, basically a stat breakdown. Basically, you could like see their end-of-season reports, and like that would be cool. Again, treat it like you would a professional sports league, right? I think there's so much opportunity in ROW that we just need to get there first. The other thing I'm going to say about ROW is that, personally, I just think an hour is too long, right? I would love to see them fight it out for like 30 minutes, right? And I'm curious, and maybe you adjust that from there. I'm really curious on what people think. If you play ROW, do you think an hour is too long? I would be shocked if everyone was like, oh my God, yeah, I am so excited for this entire hour to play. Like if that was an overwhelming majority point, right? To me, I just think an hour is too long for something like that. But, maybe I'm the minority. It's just, I think if it was like 30 minutes or something, that to me seems a little bit more reasonable of what you're asking for. But obviously, I'd love to hear from people that play ROW. Like, do you think the time is just enough? Do you think it's too long? Do you think it's too short? Like, I would really be curious to know. Let me see here. Pink Panda picks. Pick says, honestly, them adding turrets is the mistake here, and because people were already complaining about barricade is too strong, they decided to remove barricade as the last minute decision. I mean, again, that's very much how it could have played out. The thing is, I'm not against the turrets. However, what I would have liked to see before they added turrets is I would have loved to see them make adjustments to the barricades first to basically scale them down a little bit. Like basically limit the amount that can be made per player and potentially the amount that could be built on a turret's flag territory. Also taking into account if you're building multiple turrets to overlap flag territory. Reduce the build time for turrets and then also make the build and the destroy time the exact same. Right? I think that to me would be a little bit, I would like to see those 2 to 3 things done first. And then see how that plays out across a season or two. Before they added in turrets. However, given that they have added in turrets now, I think turrets are okay. It's just the problem with turrets is, once again, it's like the same issue that is the same hurdles that's happening with barricades, is that you can just build too many, right? It was Call of Barricades, and now it's Call of Turrets. I mean, there's some pictures. Mia, can you open the door so Max can go out, please? Right, I don't know if you guys have seen those pictures from, where is it, S2.21 or something? Hang on, I'll tell you where it is. It's an S2 group. It is, I think they're fighting in Zone 2. Where is it here? Oh gosh, I have to find them. Maybe it is S2 Plus, and I'm just really tripping. Yeah, it is. So it's the 155 through 173 group, right? And here, I'll show you right now, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And I'm sure some of you have seen the pictures, but sometimes it's nice to be able to kind of see it up front. But basically what they're doing there is it's just a wall. It's a wall of turrets. It's the same thing that's happening with barricades. And so for me, it's the same solution there. It's just the thing with on-field structures. Like, think about keeps. You don't see keeps flooding the battlefield. That's exactly what barricades and turrets should be, right? They should be strategic and tactical uses, right? It shouldn't be something that you're building the Great Wall of China to try and accomplish. So here, I'll show you in Camelid, right? This is where it is. So, like, look at this, right? I mean, isn't this ridiculous? Right? I mean, you'd have to just, I mean, look at this. This is wild when you look at this, right? And it's the same thing that was happening with the barricades. Except in this season, you can still build barricades. So, yeah. This is just too much. This, to me, I feel like takes away from the most enjoyable aspect of the game, which is the PvP. And specifically PvP, fighting in the open field. That's really where we want to see the tactics and the strategy being applied, is out in combat. And so, yeah, this is, like, again, I think you could do with a third. I think a third to a quarter of all the turrets and barricades you're seeing right now is what should be available to you. And then it's just a matter of strategically placing them appropriately so you can try and get the most use out of them. And it doesn't matter how easy or not or how simple they are to remove. That's not the point. The point is that, like, this, and again, this is my opinion. Others may share different ones, but I just think this is too much, right? I love the idea of on-field buildable structures, but I think they need to be used in appropriate ways. Not in, oh wow, let me just build as many as I can and let's just flood the entire area. So, but that's me. Gothmog says, yeah, they need to create like esports type in Dota 2 where you can spectate top players. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, man. Be able to spectate top alliances that are playing. And, what would even be cool, and this is a dope idea, is that if a gate opened, like let's say they were trying to promote and they wanted to like have people tune in to watch like really big, large scale open field PvP. This is a cool idea. I don't even think Rock does this. But what if they added in a notification system where, let's say, in like the strongest KvK group, let's say Zone 4 was going to open, right? And we know there's going to be a lot of war. Where the moment that the pass is open, a notification would go out to everyone, or not everyone, but like maybe there was like an interface similar to an ROW interface. And then if you logged in, you could go to that interface and there would be like a red dot or something there. And it would say, hey, in this KvK group, right, the Zone 4 passes went in, because obviously this would be in line now with you being able to go and observe other kingdoms. We'll get to that in a moment. But you could do that, and then it would teleport you there to that kingdom, specifically to the Zone 4 area, and then you could watch this massive open field PvP war. That would be kind of cool. Again, I think that might need some fine-tuning, but the idea is that you're promoting war. You're promoting players, especially if they're new, being able to get a taste of what like some end-game potential PvP looks like in fights and wars and battles. That, to me, is just continuing to reinvest in your game. Right? Sometimes you got to think outside the box, Pippins, outside the box. Anyways, let's go back to notes. So, where were we here? Let me get some more sangria. Steph, what's up, man? Welcome. V-Cellos, welcome. What's up? Yeah. Am I feeling it? Not yet. Gothmog says, no, not gems. There's a 1-cap players per week, so a free-to-play can only bet 2K max per row. Well, I mean, bear in mind, you'd be saving, right? And maybe it isn't gems. Again, I'm just throwing that out there. Like, to me, that would be really cool, because if you think about it, that would actually be a great way where free-to-play could catch up in gems, right? Being able to bet those. Maybe you start off with a limit. Right, it kind of scales appropriately to a degree, but and even if it's just resources, I'm fine with that, right? I'm just kind of throwing out some ideas, but I think some type of betting system would be awesome. JDA says betting would be so much fun. It would, yeah. Vicello says, who has bigger whales? I bet on that team. To be honest, it's interesting, right? Once you kind of get to that level, sometimes it's not always going to be right who the biggest whales are that are always going to be guaranteed to win. Right, I think tactics and strategy are hopefully gonna really fulfill themselves, right, at a later point in time. And even Infinity Kingdom, I think, did something really interesting at one point, which is where in fights they basically scaled down everyone's gear and all of their levels to like the same cap level if they were over a certain threshold. And I thought that was interesting, right, as well. Regardless if you agree or disagree with that, I think the interesting approach is that it then becomes a lot more about strategy and tactics versus who is stronger necessarily, right? Where you're kind of bullying people with your kind of like T6 account, if you will, right? As some people say, where it's basically I just call it max T5, or just a max account in general. Chell says, I think an hour is fine, because how often does it happen? Like once a month, maybe. I'd be okay with 30 minutes if we had the event more often. Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends. I mean, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I can see an argument, or I could see a case being made for both sides of it. I guess just generally speaking, the hour feels long to me. Gothmog says, yeah, 1 barricade per player, 5 per type of turrets per alliance. Yeah, I mean, I'd potentially be fine. I mean, if you have an active alliance of 150, 200 people, right? I mean, that's 150 to 200 barricades, right? I mean, could you make an argument and say that if everyone contributes a barricade, and on top of that, if you have allies that you're working with as well, and you guys are building along the same path, I mean, yeah, that can then end up being a lot of barricades. Would I like to see how 1 barricade per player plays out? I would. Where it says 5 per type of turrets per alliance, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'd be fine with seeing 1 barricade and 1 turret per player, right? I think that would be cool, just to see how does that play out first. And then look, if it ends up being too low, then right? Then it's like, okay, let's do 2 barricades per player, and we'll do 2 turrets per player. But that's typically how you would do it appropriately before you kind of make a very impulsive or kind of full stop approach or action on the removal of the barricades, as we saw. Violet says, defending is already OP in this game. They should limit towers to 100 to 150 per alliance. Gothbot says, could catch up if they win, yeah. All right, here we go. So we got we already talked about the ROW. Let's continue here for Alliance. Alliance keep improvements. Legions defending Alliance keeps are now classified as PvP legions, meaning that any relevant PvP skills would be activated. I mean, personally, I guess maybe this is somewhat okay. I'd be curious to hear from those that fighting keeps often, or if you use keeps often. I mean, to me, you're just kind of adding some skills to now be enabled, essentially. So I don't know if that's like a hard negative or not. I'd be curious. I mean, I don't view it as that initially, but then again, I don't fighting keeps a lot. So I will defer that to people who do that often. Alliance help improvements. Improve the Alliance help notification system. When getting help, you can see how many help chances are remaining for any buildings under construction or technologies being researched. You can now enter the Alliance help screen by clicking the help icon on the Alliance Center. You can now jump to corresponding technologies being researched or buildings under construction from the Alliance help screen, allowing you to speed up the research. So I actually thought that this was going to be an improvement to this one, and it just doesn't feel like it really is. Right? When I was, and if you remember, for those of you who watched the video, I was so excited when I read the first line, when I read the very first line, because to me, I was reading this and thinking there's going to be a number, right? And I'll give you an example here. Let's say I go to my city, and let's say I clicked to upgrade this, right? My thought, let me just do this real quick so I can show you what I mean. My thought is that there would be a number here above the building where it would say 0 out of 20. And then as I got helps, it would say 20, 15, 10, 7 out of 20, 13 out of 20, 15 out of 20. And then if it got to 20 out of 20, maybe it gives a green check at the top or a different up arrow to indicate, hey, you're at max helps, right? So you can use speed ups on this building if you want to. I actually thought that would be a little bit better of an idea and approach than what they currently put in, right, or have coming out for the change. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's just kind of throwing me off a bit on this. I mean, yeah, is it a little bit better? Where it says when getting help, you can see how many help chances are remaining for any buildings under construction or technologies being researched. So is that under the, I mean, maybe it is, right? Maybe it will be under the building with how it reads, or it'll be somewhere. It's just, again, this wasn't too specific for me on that. So again, maybe it is. And if it is, that's great. Like that's what I was kind of hoping. But then as I kept reading, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe that isn't what it is. So, yeah, it's good stuff. Jets, that was a very successful strategy for Osiris League. Yeah. I mean, again, I think. Oh, sorry, Jets. What do you mean there? Do you, are you talking about like the scaling thing I meant in Infinity Kingdom, where they kind of put players that were over a particular threshold down to the same threshold, and it just became more about tactics and strategy versus who was inherently stronger? Is that what you meant? Yeah, let's see. Sorry, I was trying to read this here. No, sorry, Jess is S211. Oh, sorry, I have to wait. Bundlebee says, what's up, Bundle? What's up, man? Call the Turrets. Game is dead in a month or two. I mean, I don't agree with that. I think I think the game, I think this update is overall, when you're looking at all the features in it, I think there's more positives than there are negatives or questions. However, there are quite a few things that still need to be addressed, which were not touched on in this update, and we will go over that too as well here in a bit. Ooh, that's some good sangria. I have to admit, that's some decent sangria. Let's see here, and then we will go on. There's a few other really good updates that I'm pretty excited about. So, bump chicka bump chicka bump. Sorry, let's see. Game was strategy called Turrets. Double D, what's up, man? Welcome. Is there new pets in S2 Plus? And once caught, are there higher level or the same in S2? Yeah, no new pets. That's coming. The only adjustment I think they've made so far is they've increased the spawning rate for higher level pets in the final zone. Alliances reach each other, build turrets, and that's it. Yeah. No one want to fight because healing is healing out. Yeah, I mean the healing I think still needs to be improved. The thing is, really what needs to happen with the healing is they need to go in the opposite direction. They need to revert the changes that were made to the free healing, and then they need to improve free healing, I think, a little bit more as well. Jet says turrets can absolutely wreck hero stamina and healing ability in Zone 1 fight. So interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We have a new Alliance chat past message feature. You can now see past messages in Alliance chat after being removed from an Alliance, even if you join a new Alliance. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know how I feel about this one, really. Because it's basically saying that you'll be able to still view your Alliance chat even after you leave. If leaving or being removed. I just don't feel like that should be right. It says you can now see up to 20 past messages in Alliance chat when you join a new Alliance. All right, because this makes it seem like it's your ex-Alliance that you're able to see, not the current one. So. Now let's get to other improvements. S2 Plus, Hearts of Ice. You can now preview turrets' attack range before placing it. This is great. I actually think, like I said, I thought this was a really good feature improvement that they made. Upgrading a turret from level 5 to 6 will now cost 1 warrant. Now this kind of becomes the question one. This is where I talked about in the video. It's like, they got a +1, but then they kind of got a -1 for me. I just don't get why they're making the upgrade cost for turrets costing additional warrant. There was nothing wrong with the way that turrets and barricades are being upgraded, right? I would just kind of leave that as is. Then we get to building improvements. This is just where when you're placing them, you can kind of choose between the new building method or the old one where it'll center your screen when you're placing. The next one here is merit display improvements. You can now hide how many merits you have from other players until the Augerstone reaches the merits calculation page. This, to me, again, just it partly feels like an out-of-touch update, an out-of-touch feature change, right? Again, I don't know who's asking for this. You know, like I've never, for the people I know and the feedback I get, and what I see on the COD Discord and in suggestions, I don't see people that are heavily advocating for merits to be hidden, because typically merits need to be visible if you're tracking data, which most of the top alliances, if not arguably all the top alliances, track merit data, right? Whether that's day to day or week to week or whatever interval they do. So, you know, you need to see merit data. You know, I actually think this is a lot more of a negative or a nerf, which is probably more of a negative nerf, if you will, than it needs to. Like, there's just, again, man, like no one was asking for that, right? And I say that broadly and generally, of course, right? I'm not saying like literally 0 people asked them. Maybe there was some people, but why is the change being made? Where's the justification? Where's the explanation on the change? This, to me, just doesn't seem like a change that's in a good direction. It seems like this is either a knee-jerk reaction change or a few people asked for this and then you're making the change. You know, listen, come to Boss Nasty, come to Daddy. I will guide you. I will let you know, right? This is how we go about doing things. I'm not saying they're doing things bad. I'm just saying maybe a consultant objectively from the outside looking in can help, right? Someone from the community, you know? Anyways, let's move on. UI improvements. So, we get to an improved display for chat windows. You can now view more messages on the screen. I'm going to be honest. This is a good change. I would like to reduce the amount of overall scrolling that I'm doing. And if they're just going to reduce the font size a little bit, you know, by 1 or 2 points, whatever it may be, so you can see more messages, or they're going to increase the chat window, right? I like this. This is actually a nice quality of life change, right? As long as I'm not having to squint at size 2.5 font, that's a W for me. Improved display for emojis. Accessing the emoji settings page is now more convenient. Okay, I mean, I'll take that as a win, right? If it's a little easier to navigate to. Improved display for personal information. Icons displaying heroes and achievements have been temporarily removed. This feature will be optimized in the future update. Okay, like, I mean, this is a good sentence or two on what is coming up. Thank you. Just as our last row was us, 1.6 billion versus 3.1 billion, hoping matchmaking is better this weekend. I mean, this is the thing about that, Jets, right? And this is the thing that I've talked about often, which is that, on my Discord, we have a row section. And if everyone just put in what day and time slot they were going into and what their rank is, their global rank going into the match, like global rank and power, it's one way that you have a higher percentage chance of getting, more favorable matchups. Or if they just implement a system in game where it will show you the alliances, their rank, and their power that have signed up for that specific time slot, and then you can go through that and look for favorable matches, right? And then you'll be able to see, even if they had like a rating system or something, right? Maybe the rating system would, try to find them whatever it is, right? Obviously it's going to try and find them the best matchup that they can. But I have to believe there has to be a little bit better of a way to do it, because when you just have, until you start getting a lot more alliances that are powering up, like that's basically the challenge you're in now, right? The hurdle is that because there's not enough alliances in the game that have varied time slots that they're choosing, you're going to find yourself with those types of like heavy, deep mismatches, right? Because you might only have, 10 or 20 alliances in the top 10 or 20 that are like close-ish in power. But if 100 or 200 or 300 more new alliances come into the game, right? Then now you'll eventually get some more alliances that are near the top of the boards, or at least closer in power to the top. And there's a chance they may choose and select other time zones or other time slots, right? So then you'll eventually get more favorable matchups, but it's just going to take time. The only way they could really do something about it now is if they implemented a little bit more of a hand-holding system like that, where you could see which alliances are going in for what time slots and what their rank and their power is, right? Then you can try to always go for and choose favorable matchups. So, yeah. Yeah, several pixels. Yeah, several unnecessary features here. Yeah. Steph says, I just want to see how much T5 troops I kill as T4 merit section. No, and Steph, I'm going to write that one down. Thank you so much for saying that. So I'm going to do a video, for those of you that are curious, I'm going to do a video on the features that we need in the game, right? So it's essentially I'm essentially going to go over, these are all the features that we would like to see, or either we would like to see, or features that are going to help the community as a whole in a positive direction. And something like that where you can see a breakdown of T4 and T5 kills, but also a breakdown of kills that are only counting, right? If you're not attacking someone in like a node, as an example. I think I'd like to see that. I would like to see if they can separate between open field kills for T4 and T5, and then kills that are done in passes, and then kills that are done on tiles, on nodes. I would really love if they would be willing to separate it like that. And then you could still have a total kills, but then you could see the breakdown. Because to me, I would value open field kills as number 1, and then it would be pass kills number 2, and then it would be tile kills number 3, right? But like that's something I think I'd love to see them do, right? I think that's really important, so that way okay, that way people would look at open field T4, T5 kills more than they probably would anything else, because arguably that's the most important. But no, I like that. That's actually something I need to suggest here on, let's just say, do I have something for combat? I'm going to add this for combat. So let's just say breakdown on player profiles for T4, T5 kills in, we'll say open field, passes, and resource tiles. Cool. So awesome. I've added this to my little suggestions thing, and I think we're good. Yeah, because I'm going to do a video on this where I basically do like a deep breakdown on all of like the features that I think would be really good to talk about. Oh, it's going to be dumb, and I got some really cool stuff in there. Yeah, Pick says no one asked for these changes. I mean, who did, right? And bear in mind, right, respectfully, I don't think it's fair to say absolutely no one did, even though I completely understand where you're coming from, because I have a very similar viewpoint, is that, right, if you're going to make these changes, it's just you have to back them up, right, with some explanation, some justification, some feedback, because I don't see it anywhere. You know, maybe I'm the crazy one, but I don't see it. Sorry, you said Bundlebee says change is not enough at all. As you say, I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's. I think there's more they can do, but part of it I feel is that it's like, this is my thing. Why not have a consultant? Why not consult with community members? And I don't mean consult in the way where it's, hey, what's your feedback on this? That will only do so much, because, for example, I'll give you a great example. Let's say that I was a really big creator. Like, let's say I was just as big as Chizgul, and they came to ask me for advice, right, or for my thoughts and my feedback. But let's say that my feedback is somewhat skewed, right? Maybe it's not as objective as it could be. But there's another person or a few other people that have really good, objective, well-rounded approaches to the game, that their feedback would be really good, right? Or just good to hear additionals. You know, being able to have conversations with those people, I think, could be good as well. But more importantly, it can't just be like a one-way delivery system where they're asking for the feedback and we're giving to it. What really needs to happen is you need to sit down and have a conversation, because you have to understand these things at a very like technical level, and probably more so at a community level, right, is really where you need to understand these things from. And that can only happen if you have a conversation to really get into the weeds on things. You know, sometimes just kind of sending one-sided feedback or one-directional feedback in that way, where it's only over text and you're not sitting down and having a conversation about it, where you're saying, hey, this is the feedback, but you know what, let me explain, let me elaborate on why I'm giving the feedback I am. Because sometimes communicating that in voice or in a voice conversation or a vocal conversation can be a little bit more efficient and effective than just kind of writing text up. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why I say I think having a conversation, you know, with the devs would be fantastic, even if it's just speaking to people that are English affluent, right? And if that's the community managers or whoever it may be, right? Again, I'd be okay with that. It's just, yeah, a few minutes. I'm about to get off. I'm about to get out. So it's just, I mean, and that's why I say, right? Sometimes you have to understand. You really, it's what's that saying that they said? Right? It's like, to know my enemy is to know thyself, or something. And I'm sure there's a couple examples of this where, some sayings. Where it basically means where you're basically trying to get the point across of, you know, like you really have to kind of sit down and grind a conversation out and a discussion out with people to really, because for me, if I was to sit down with the devs, I wouldn't just throw suggestions at them. I would want to break apart their minds, right? That's what I want to do, in obviously a very loving way, right? I say that because I want to understand, where are they coming from? What previous kingdom builders have you played? Okay, what did you do in those kingdom builders? How were you influenced from those kingdom builders? What did you like about them? What did you not like about them? Right? Why are you making certain changes because of some of those influences? Right? Those are the types of questions you need to ask, because you need to understand the logic from these individual humans that are the developers, to understand why they are doing certain things the way they're doing, right? And that's, to me, that's the most important part, is that you really need to like tear them apart like a clock and then piece them back together. Because if I can understand how you think and why you think a certain way, then when I'm speaking and trying to connect dots on why certain things are being done in the game, why the community views things a certain way, it's a lot easier to then sell that point, because you can connect it a lot more clearer. But you first have to understand at a very foundational level, right, how the mind works for a developer. And then you'll be able to really move forward in a fantastic, positive way. So yeah, that's my view on it. That's my view on wanting to get inside their faces, but just in a really nice way. So, Jessica's opposition, they sent all their troops to the entrance zone and let it fight out for 10k points. T5 merits farming. Dragons not merits will earn for me. Lol, that would make Kyle has like 1.5 billion T1 kills from his Spire farming. Is that how he's getting those? I'm really curious if anyone knows how Kyle, D-Bon, Chicken are like really grinding up in kills, because bear in mind, Kyle wasn't at the 1 bill threshold, right? It was Daka, Crazy Bob, and Nephisto had broken 1 billion kill points. But no one told me like how he was boosting that high. Right? And I know for a fact that there's not all-out PvP that's happening in his group right now. So there's no way that he made all those points. And again, I'm not saying that to slight Kyle or anything. I'm just saying factually there's no way that he gained all of those points from open field PvP against T4 and T5 troops. Right? So there's something, whether it's through merit farming with tank legions or something. Someone mentioned Spire farming. I didn't even know like that was a thing. I'd love to obviously hear more about that one, but yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe Daka did some merit farming, but from everything I've heard from Daka, his merit points, his unit kills points were from open field fighting or pass fighting, right? But from for the most part, like 99% PvP. That's what I've always consistently heard about Daka. The same thing with Bob. Like no one has ever came to me and said that Bob or even Nephisto was out there, farming T1 troops or anything like that, right? And maybe there's like the occasional one-off person here and there, but those players at the top 3, and I would imagine a lot of the other players that are in the top 25, if not all of them, like I would consider those people to be pure fighters, right? More purish fighters. But like I said, I don't know. I don't know, what some of those farming techniques are. Is it like a Spire farming, or are they doing something different to like boost that high in unit kill points? I don't know. So, let me see here. Conti with Chicken. Yeah, y'all might think I'm playing, but 5 full marches of donkeys are coming. OP. God, Jets. Steph, how Kyle doing versus BD Gothing? They should also consider newer players that does not undergo SS1 Plus from Season 1 to Season 2 from 120 to 50k March. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the March size, in my opinion, is still too high, right? I personally think the March size should start off at like 100k in Season 1 and then go to 125. Like they should do 25k increment increases, because you have to understand, right? They're already talking about wanting to lower the season timelines anyways. You're eventually going to get to a higher troop capacity as seasons go on. There's nothing wrong with slow playing the troop capacity increases. I actually think it would be a better positive for that overall. Because then free to play and low spend would feel like, hey, I can actually cycle out multiple marches of full Legion troop capacities more than just one time before I have to go back and heal. I think visually that actually speaks a lot more to being free to play friendly. So, Bundlebee, you will be one day. But thing with that is that if they approach Big Creator, that one will ask his community and mostly his whales, and there is a problem. Yeah, and I mean that could be a very real thing, Bundle, as well. And I don't know if that's happening. Is that something that Shinchi, Chiz, Omni, like, is that something that they do? I don't know. What I can speak to is what I know I would do. And to me, part of it is like you have to play the game, right? And it doesn't mean that you need to play the game on at the highest level, or you need to be the biggest spender. You just need to humble yourself and ingratiate yourself into the community and click on everything, read everything, immerse yourself, right, in engaging and participating so you can get a better understanding. And then it's okay to ask other people for feedback, and what they think as well. But first and foremost, you should be able to formulate a good understanding of the game on your own. a well-versed view across a number of different areas, right, as your foundation, instead of going off of what other people say, right? Those things should be kind of more icing on the cake, more add-ons, if you will. Cello says, I think they do talk to players. VIP recently asked me for an interview for some reason. Oh, interesting. Interesting, Cellos. That is interesting. I don't know. I haven't heard from anyone else that was asked for an interview. So, but, thanks for telling us that you spend to get VIP Cellos. Everyone can ask Cellos now for some donations. I was joking. But it is interesting that they're doing that, and I wonder if they're doing that because of the feedback that they're getting, specifically about, hey, right, engage a little bit more with your community on asking these questions and things like that. But in the same breath, right, there has to be a level of oversight, right? That's one of the things as well. Someone at the end of the day has to make that decision on, hey, we're going to try this feature out or not, or we're going to include this feature in the game or not, or we're going to remove this feature that currently exists or not. Like, there has to be someone or a group of people that are there, not only to make those final decisions, but there has to be some type of filtering system as well, right? You can't just be a Jim Carrey yes man and say yes to everything. Like, there has to be things done within reason and some level of objectivity. Bundle says I played with Doku his final day, yeah. Just farming his own T5 accounts probably. Have 20 million merits. Guys with legit only field PvP, yeah. Picture said Kyle Debon still chicken farmed on Spire. They have 25 million T1 that counts as troop kills. Interesting. I did not know that. Yeah. Gothmog says, yeah, free to play can only enjoy one max March by the end of the season. One max March. Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, man, I could go in on that one for a while. Like, I personally think there's something fundamentally wrong when you as a free to play, you work hard all season and then you can only field one March at the max Legion capacity, right, going into that next season. Right, or even by the end of season 1, it's just it's rough, man. Like, I personally, I think you should at least be able to cycle. I personally think you should be able to field 15 marches, right, or 3 cycles of your 5 marches by the end of season 1, right? And that's just if you're, grinding and kind of doing the average stuff, right, without using speed ups, right? That to me, right, as long as you're active and you play, like, that's something I think you should be able to do. And obviously, if you speed ups have more, because the thing is, bear in mind, you're never going to have as many troops as someone who spends. Like, that has to be a realization. But the more troops that you can train, the more fighting you can do, which means the more sustained, longer fights can happen as well. So, we're almost done here. Number 5, new cross-server viewing feature. You can now observe activity on other servers. This is, again, I think it's a great feature. This is something that's fantastic. Being able to now go and players can view other kingdoms is really good. Now people can go and see other fights, right, as well themselves. I think there's a lot of good value there. New feature unlocked. The game will now notify you when you have unlocked a new feature. I'm curious on how this is going to work, but I slightly think this is a positive. New quick commands. Added 7 quick commands for behemoth raids, allowing you to quickly communicate with your fellow alliance members. Personally, what I would like for them just to do here is just allow for you to customize your own commands, right? Sure, am I okay with them putting 7 new preset commands in, or quick preset commands? Sure, nothing wrong with that. But the kind of max level of how this would be the best is if you allowed for people to customize their own commands. Just give them 7 slots and let them customize. Give them like a 10, 12, 15 word limit, whatever the character limit is, and then let alliances customize their own commands. Like, that to me is easy, right? If the same game logic is being applied on the mechanic, then why can't people type in their own? Like, that to me would be the improvement there. And then new community link, right? You can now visit TikTok and Instagram through community page, share your game experience. Nothing wrong there. And I think the last biggest one here is dual logins, right? Who can be mad at that? You can now log in to 2 different accounts at once. Press start the game on the launcher and open a second game. Basically, you're opening 2 instances of the PC client. I think this is a W, right? For me, not really for farm accounts, but for those that use farm accounts or play multiple accounts, I think that's a big win. For me, I'm just happy because I can have one open for my main and I can have one open for all my scout accounts, all my scout characters. So yeah, I mean, again, I think overall, that's why I was saying I think overall this update, obviously there are a couple big questions that we'll either have to see and wait how it plays out once the update comes, or there's just some flat out, just again, there's a couple in here that are, kind of make you turn your head a little bit and kind of rub you the wrong way. But I will say overall for the V1.0.21 update, I will say that it is mostly a net positive, right? Despite some of the question marks that we have. Right, I think like the War Pets one, arguably you could even make a case the War Pets one might have been the biggest. Right, the biggest helpful impactful change, and then probably the row spectating, being able to view other alliances. But I don't know, probably the dual PC login would probably be next, and then maybe just being able to view other kingdoms. But again, there is some really good stuff here. The hope now is that they just need to keep building on that momentum, right? Where the next update does even more, because best believe the moment that a new update comes out, that is either a new update or shadow changes that come out that are at the same scale of where it causes that level of uproar for what happened with the recent changes, right? That is where you're going to probably run into an issue, right? Because you got to think, man, like, people are only going to keep giving you so many chances, right? Players will only keep giving a game so many chances until they just, continue to kind of throw in the towel one by one. But like I said, I think this update is a nice recovery. I don't know if I want to say a great recovery, but I will say it's a nice recovery from what's been happening as of late. And obviously, we still have to wait for them to talk about Resurgence and to talk about the Alliance. Not being able to join alliances, right? So remember, we're still waiting for an announcement on that. We haven't heard anything yet about those 2 points. They said they were going to cover those. So, we're waiting for that as well. You said, I think they have pilots doing this. They might. No fight still zone 4. I don't even farm. Davis, what's up? Welcome. Still have T1 troops. I know they killed T1 troops. It's like, oh yeah, man, yeah, they're just fighting with T1 troops, man. They got T5 unlocked, but they only train T1. YOLO. That's what it is. Yeah, he's got 2.8 billion troops killed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was below 1 billion last season, and the fact is that we haven't seen that high of a bump up in units killed points. Like, that's the thing. I mean, I track the data. You can see what the trends are from month to month. No one, absolutely no one, has had, I think, greater than like a 500 or 600 mil merit point increase from season to season. Let me check my sheet. I can show you guys. I mean, I can show you guys the data too. It's not. It's just. I don't think. I just don't think that's attainable. Right? I mean, unless you're just like the ultra whales who are just doing nothing but spending and spending, and you guys are just like facing each other all day long, 24/7, and people are piloting, playing the account 24/7. Then okay, maybe. But here, I'll show you guys. Right? So if we go to units killed, right? I mean, look, you can see here. I've only been tracking the data for 2 months, right? So we did it in October, we did it in November, and then I'm gonna have to do this December as well. Right, so I'll do this again. But, I mean, look at this. This is a month and a half, right? This is a little bit more than a month and a half that you're seeing. And the highest plus-minus gain, or the highest plus gain was Mephisto at plus 473 million, right? At a little over a month and a half. Second highest gain was Chicken, right? At 341, I think we have here. And then 271 was Bob. I think that was the next biggest one. Yeah. So, it's just, again, no one's made, and, again, if I did the data again in a week or so, and you can see, like, if you go look at Crazy Bob and Mephisto's units killed, that's a little bit more of a reality because there hasn't been a lot of PvP. They've only been fighting at Runic, right, at the runic statues for the most part. So to see Kyle and Chicken and Demon go from under 1 billion, right, to where Kyle's at 2.8 billion. I mean, he's almost tripled his units killed. Like, the thing is, units killed counts as any unit, right? So if you think about it, T1's the fastest. I'm coming, sweetie. I'm coming. Huh? What's in the office? No, he's not. Check the bathroom. So, but yeah. Anyways, those are my thoughts. It is 9:13 right now. I was not expecting to be going this late. Lady gave me till about 9 tonight. So, with that in mind, I think I'm actually gonna start winding down a little bit. But man, I really appreciate you guys coming in and jamming with me for this Friday evening. We'll see about tomorrow and Sunday. I don't know if there's going to be any PvP going on Saturday. Sunday could be the earliest that we may see some PvP. So there's a chance that I might stream on Sunday. If not, definitely Monday and Tuesday night we will be streaming, because there's going to be a lot of PvP that's happening there. As always, remember, if you guys do want to check out the Discord where you can get updates on when we go live, I'm going to throw a new link that I generated today in the chat, so you can always join, and then specifically I'll show this off as we always like to. Again, you can head here on the Discord. If you go to reaction roles, you can go on here and you can select the COD Live Notify. That'll just give you a ping whenever we do go live. Now, if there's big event days, like if we know there's just going to be war up the bonanza, it's like a big zone 4 or something, I might ping everyone that has the COD role, but I typically do that in a spaced out format, right? So usually it's only pinging the Live Notify, and then of course we have a sub donate channel for those that would like to support beyond viewing. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up for what we got tonight for you guys. Again, man, really appreciate you rocking with us, and hopefully you enjoy where we do these deep dives across kingdoms. And again, my streams are going to be different from probably others that stream, right, where they're showing you mainly their account and them participating in their alliance and probably them going out and fighting, right? A lot of my streams are going to be me showing you the world of Call of Dragons, me showing you game-wide stats and data, maybe doing some interviews, going and looking at new seasons. Right, that for me is enjoyable. I like exploring the world of COD and its community, and that's more of what we'll probably get here, right? Some people have mentioned it's kind of akin to like a news network. I guess maybe in a sense, even though that really wasn't what I was setting out to do. I just like to educate people. I like to spread some awareness and some love out there, so people know that there's more in the game than just the kingdom and the alliance that you play in. And sometimes that can be enjoyable when you see what else is out there. So with that in mind, that's it. Again, as always, I hope you guys enjoy. Until next time, I will